Why is it that the smartest people you know often seem the most stuck? Alfred Adler had a name for what they were doing. He called it the architecture of evasion. In the next 4 minutes, we look at what an inferiority complex really is and the quiet skill Adler believed could open every locked door.
Alfred Adler defined the inferiority complex as a clinical condition that is dangerously active. It describes a specific, engineered state of mind, rather than general insecurity or low self-esteem. Adler saw this complex as a rigid lifestyle. He proposed that individuals develop this architecture to survive what they perceive as an unsolvable threat. The complex is triggered by a single, firm conviction. An individual encounters a problem and decides they have absolutely no way to solve it. Without understanding how this mechanism operates, the results are devastating. An individual can spend their entire life burning energy on battles that don't actually exist. The inferiority complex functions as a highly active architecture of evasion, a psychological fortress built to avoid reality at all costs. When a person believes a problem is insurmountable, the psychological weight begins to build. The daily, ongoing pressure of feeling completely inadequate to face your own life eventually becomes unbearable. The individual responds by abandoning practical, grounded efforts. They simply give up on trying to fix the actual issue. Because the real mountain in front of them cannot be climbed, they invent a fake one. Adler called this the pursuit of fictional superiority. The focus shifts entirely toward new, artificial goals. They create scenarios where they can easily feel strong or significant, generating a synthetic boost to their ego. This creates a successful self-deception. The person feels powerful, even though the original weakness, the actual obstacle that started all of this, remains completely unresolved. By this point, the original real-world trigger has been forgotten, replaced entirely by a quest for ego protection. To maintain this illusion of strength, the individual must aggressively edit their environment. They restrict their sphere of action, shrinking their world down to a tiny, controllable space. Inside this shrunken world, the priorities invert. Avoiding failure becomes the supreme priority, carrying more weight than any desire for genuine success. This is why an agoraphobic might lock themselves inside a safe room. By removing the outside world entirely, they ensure they never have to face the problems they feel incapable of solving. When life makes demands that exceed this restricted space, the inability to cope manifests as masks of evasion, practical, deceptive behaviors designed to dodge responsibility. These masks appear as sudden anger, crying, making excuses, or the development of neurotic symptoms. They are tactical responses to pressure. These behaviors escalate as the individual feels more cornered. A child might learn to use tears to manipulate others into solving their problems. In the most extreme instances of this evasion, Adler observed that even suicide can act as a final withdrawal, an ultimate escape that blames one's inability to cope on the cruelty of the world. Every self-sabotaging or dramatic behavior is actually a calculated defense mechanism. They exist to protect the shrinking, fictional world of the individual. Living within this architecture means the genuine, tangible problems of human existence are entirely set aside. The real obstacles remain untouched and ignored. Adler recognized the exhaustion required to maintain this system. People trapped in this complex fight phantom battles. They waste immense energy fighting invisible threats to protect a fragile self-esteem, rather than facing the challenges of reality. Adler's theory provides a way to recognize these patterns. We can see when excuses, sudden outbursts of rage, or neurotic retreats are being used to mask a perceived inability to solve a problem. To dismantle the inferiority complex, the individual must stop defending the artificial mask. They must step outside the restricted sphere and finally look the real problem in the eye.
So here is Adler's claim, in one sentence. The inferiority complex is not a feeling. It is a decision that a problem cannot be solved. The architecture of evasion is what we build to live with that decision. This week, ask yourself, what is the locked room in your own life right now? Not the small one, the real one. the problem you have quietly decided you cannot solve. You do not have to open the door today. Just notice the lock. I'm Betty, by the way, a retired librarian and a lifelong fan of philosophy and psychology. Adler has been my favorite thinker for decades. This channel is for anyone who wants to understand themselves a little better. Next week, we look at why some of us build these rooms beautifully and others build them ugly. Adler had a word for that. If this video helped, please subscribe, like, and share. Leave a comment with the room you noticed. I read them all. See you on the next episode.